There it is. It just posted. Are you guys seeing us? Please, 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 if you are, let us know.
Yeah, now I see it.
We, I think, are up and running. Sorry, guys, we're having some technical difficulties. I'm not sure what's going on tonight, but we could not get the live feed going. Thank you so much for sticking with us. If you are still watching, my name is Annie Weebs, and you are tuning in to RUWeebs Live on Paranormal Warehouse. We've had a little shake-up tonight. We were supposed to have Jeff Waldridge on as a guest. Unfortunately, Jeff had to reschedule. He had a little family emergency at the last minute, and so we wish Jeff well, and we're going to get him back on at another time, believe you me. So, in the meantime, a couple of little housekeeping things that we want to talk about before we get into our guest tonight. If you haven't already gone to Paranormal Warehouse on YouTube and subscribed to the page, you guys, please do that because they have so much cool stuff happening right now. Paranormal Warehouse YouTube, you can go on there and watch not only all of the amazing live shows that Warehouse has to offer, not just this one, but American Ghost Hunter Show, Eerie Voices, all of our people who are out there doing their live shows. But you can get on there and actually watch live streams from some of the most haunted locations in the United States. We're talking Madison Seminary, Malvern Manor, the 1904 Church, Greystone Manor, some of the most amazing places in the United States to visit as a paranormal investigator. You can go to Paranormal Warehouse YouTube page, subscribe to their page, and you can watch live streams from these places. You can be part of these interactive ghost hunts from your own home, and it's the coolest thing that they have come up with. So you guys get on there, subscribe to Paranormal Warehouse on YouTube, and be part of the chats that are going on there, and be part of their interactive ghost hunts. I'm trying to get on. You guys give us a shout. Thank you for sticking with us. We had some technical difficulties, but we are on. So, Sherry Whitworth, hello. Daniel Class says, look at this lineup. You guys. Daniel, it's good to see you. It's good to hear from you. Got to get you back on soon. Chris Sanders says, hey, Addie is having a glass of wine with me right now. I love you, Addie Gaddis.
Addie Juice.
Roy. Sherry, Zira, Jason Miller. Jason Miller is one of our newest Madison converts up there. So thanks for tuning in. Charles, Zira, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in and stick with us. If you have any questions, please, please post them here in the live chat. If you like what you're seeing right now, share it with everybody because we've got an amazing guest on right now. Like I said before, Jeff Waldridge, we had to reschedule due to a family emergency that he had. So I've got my paranormal partner in crime, Mr. Brendan Shay, on with me right now. Shay, babe.
I'm waving the gauntlet with the Infinity Stones on it. See?
Thank you for stepping in last minute. Adam Young, hello. Sherry's representing Canada right now. You guys, if you're part of a paranormal team, give us. If you're part of a paranormal team, let us know who you're with. I'd love to give you guys a shout out on here. So Shay and I met a little more than a year ago doing some paranormal investigating, and since then we dove into, what do we call it, Shay?
The wormhole of weirdness.
So, the wormhole of weirdness.
I'd like to welcome you guys to another episode of Serial Spirits. No, I mean, RUWeebs Live.
So, what Shay's referring to right now is the podcast that we host bi-weekly called Serial Spirits. And so Shay and I are not only into paranormal, but we're into all of the weird shit that goes on in the paranormal world. And I think part of that are these true crime stories and mysteries and unsolved murders that we dove into. So Shay, kind of tell everybody what Serial Spirits is about and where it came from.
Well, being a paranormal investigator, you go to all these different places, and I wanted to kind of bring the whole true crime and hauntings together. So, we did an episode, we did a 2-part episode on Fox Hollow Farm, which is a haunted location in Carmel, Indiana, where a supposed serial killer lived there. He was never convicted, but he, in turn, through the crimes that were committed there, caused a haunting. So that was the whole idea behind Serial Spirits. And then it just spiraled into all these other things where we just started, getting into true crime documentaries, watching all this cool stuff, meeting cool people, and we just made it into a full-blown just unsolved mysteries of podcast, basically. You don't have Robert Stack, but you have Shay and Weebs, so.
I don't know how that compares to anything. We've got, let's see here. Zira says hello from Kentucky. Hi, Trisha. Hi, Cricket. She says, hi, y'all. She's a girl after my own heart. Montreal. Thank you for watching, Katie. From Brazil. Thank you so much. Pennsylvania. Cleveland, Ohio. So we're talking about all things wormhole weirdness. I had worn my favorite shirt tonight because,
even though you don't believe in him.
No, that's bullshit. I do after the encounter that we had at the TNT bunker. I do believe more now in cryptids than I ever have before. And Addie Gaddis just asked a question and said, "What about Bigfoot? Can we go searching?"
What about Bigfoot?
Okay. Where do we go with this conversation? So, okay, we started talking about Serial Spirits. So, Serial Spirits is this podcast that we do bi-weekly. We talk about all things paranormal. This is ghosts. This is true crime. This is cryptids. So, if you want to talk about cryptids and like Mothman and Bigfoot, you and I have some differing beliefs on this, Shay. So, as you drink out of your Deathly Hallows mug, tell people a little bit about Mothman and what you think about what we experienced at the TNT bunkers.
Well, Mothman, as some of you who don't know, here in the United States, we have a cryptid known as the Mothman, and he is supposed to be the harbinger of doom. Okay, in 1966 and 1967, for a full year in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, they were seeing this winged creature. But it wasn't just a winged creature they were seeing. They were seeing a whole slew of weird things like UFOs, Men in Black, all these crazy, weird phenomena happened in this full year. And it culminated into the collapse of the Silver Bridge, which ended up killing 46 people that fell into the Ohio River. And they blamed it on the Mothman. And John Keel, who became obsessed and made this his life work, he did a full year investigation and, wrote a book called The Mothman Prophecies, and he tells all these stories. And, my firm belief is that it has something to do with interdimensional beings and that kind of thing. And John Keel felt the same way. But, we went there this past year to the Mothman Festival with a group of friends, and we had incredible time just hanging out with people, but also we got to investigate the TNT bunkers, which is an old military armaments where they used to store bombs and munitions and stuff like that. And they believe that was the home base for the Mothman. And so we got to explore all these bunkers, and Weebs had a crazy experience. And if you listen to episode 3 of our podcast, Serial Spirits, you can hear the full-on experiences we had there. So, yeah. It was a good time, besides the scary alien you saw.
When you say scary alien, like it's nothing, like that's what I saw, I don't know how to describe what I saw other than...
scary alien.
scary alien, just scary alien. It was enough that I didn't want to be there anymore. And it was enough. So you guys don't know me very well. This is only our 3rd episode on Warehouse. And I think what I like to say about cryptids and any other type of experience that I've never had, I've had ghost experience. You know, ghost experience is nothing new. And so what I want to experience now is everything kind of otherworldly. So the cryptids and the aliens, and we had that type of experience there at the TNT bunkers. And that made me a little more of a believer in what was going on there, because I saw something that I couldn't explain, some type of being there that was bizarre. And so it made me a little more of a believer. But like I was going to talk to Jeff tonight about cryptids and Bigfoot and all that kind of stuff. I want to see all of it before I am a true believer. Sherry is in the chat right now, Sherry Whitworth, and she said, I get visits a lot from loved ones in my dreams, and later that night I always get smells that I associate with them. I often feel their presence. What do you feel, Shay, about people who experience things through dreams, especially after loved ones have passed?
I mean, I've had dreams about my loved ones, and the loved ones that I want to dream about the most, I never do. But honestly do think that when people pass who care about us, it's either that state of mind that you're wanting so bad that these loved ones come to you, or they actually are coming to you. I mean, I had a couple dreams about my grandma after she had passed away, and they ended up becoming kind of not real, like, vivid things that I saw, but just like little signs and symbols that associated with the dream that I saw, you know, when I was awake walking around, and it had to do with the dream I had. So I do firmly believe that spirits do come to us in dreams.
Sherry, what I can tell you is that I have had dream type experiences with a lot of my loved ones who have passed, especially my grandparents. My grandparents were very superstitious people, but they also, I feel like, used that as their way of coming through before and after they were gone. My paternal grandfather came to me in a dream a few months after he passed and gave me a message. And then my maternal grandfather came to me both before and after he passed to give me messages. The first time around, he actually told me that he was very sick and he did not have a lot longer with us. And so that gave me time with him that I wouldn't have had probably if he hadn't have kind of given me that warning that he wasn't going to be here. And because my grandfather came to me and gave me that warning, I had 3 really good months with him, just helping him in any way that I could. And then once he did pass, he came to me again to tell me that he was okay. And so I think people should pay more attention to their dreams and what you feel and see and sense in these dreams, and just your gut feeling in whatever goes on there, because there's something to it. There's something to that unconscious level of whatever happens in your brain that connects us with something that we can't always see, I think. So, Shay, when we go back to talking about paranormal investigating, we have visited a lot of good places together. So what are some of your favorites and some of your favorite experiences?
Oh, we're gonna do these stories?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, I've been all over the country, seen a lot of cool places, had a lot of cool experiences, and I think one of the things that hit home to me the most was I always talk about Pennhurst State Asylum outside of Philadelphia. I went there a couple years ago, and I had the opportunity to investigate it for 2 nights in a row. I mean, the whole property. There's a lot of the buildings you can't go in because they're so condemned. But, you know, we had kind of full access. They told us, you know, we're not supposed to be in the tunnels, but if I don't see you go in, you know what I mean? It's one of them things like hush, hush. But this place was a state-run school, and it had a lot of, you know, mentally handicapped people that eventually ended up being there. And it was one of them things that was overcrowded. The conditions were terrible, and eventually it was shut down because of the deplorable conditions of this place. And when you go to these places, and that's the thing, it's just not about being a paranormal investigator anymore. It's about the history too. A lot of the history behind some of these locations we go make the trip and the investigation worth 10 times more than just going there to find ghosts, because you're actually standing in the place where these horrible things happen. And I'm not saying that it's cool to be standing there because horrible things happen. I'm saying you are now visiting this place that is such wrought with terrible history. And, you know, to be in Pennhurst, to be standing in these halls that these people suffered in, and just to know that these people were suffering terribly it was like awe-inspiring, because it was like, how can people treat each other like this? And then you get the communication from these spirits. You know, you hear little kids talking, you hear screams, you get EVPs of like people who sound like they're in complete, like, just suffering. And it was an incredible experience, and it sticks with me. I mean, I got a couple EVPs. There's, in the Devon building, in the basement is one of the buildings. There's supposedly a ghost of a pedophile that's still down there. This guy, he worked there, and he used to take the kids into the bathrooms and molest them. And a lot of times they didn't have the staff to cover, you know, at night shifts and that kind of thing. So they would have the higher functioning patients take care of the other patients, and that would lead to these sexual encounters with, you know, the molestations and rapes and other things. And we had these really terrible EVPs from this guy who supposedly did these things in this bathroom down there. And just, you know, I heard them, like, because we heard a lot of them playing back, and I just went venom on them, like, you know, on that ghost, because it was like, yeah, how could you do these horrible things? But just it was just a cool experience to be part of that history now.
Right. Sally says, hey, from Houston. Hey, Sally, you guys who are on still with us, sorry for the technical difficulties. You guys hang in there with us. If you have questions, please post them in here. Let us know that you're watching. And we will give you a shout out. Paranormal Warehouse from the United Kingdom. Thank you, Craig. Let's see, a couple of questions here. Justin Mitchell says, any good ideas on how to remove the flat-brimmed shadow person?
That's your department, RUWeebs.
Okay, so Justin, and he says, I asked specifically because I'm having problems with that. One time in my paranormal career, I have had an experience with, I think what you're calling the flat-brimmed shadow person. We had just investigated a location called an Oddfellows Lodge, which is kind of like a Masonic lodge. And there was a lot of question and controversy as to some of the things that happened there. Everything from, what is it?
It seems like it's a pretty odd place.
Everything from rapes to murders, you know, just weird stuff. And so I started seeing what I would call a flat-brimmed shadow person in my house. My animals always reacted to it, and my response to that is I saged the hell out of my house and basically did some meditative exercises and cleansed my area. And it felt like once I cleansed that area, this guy kind of went away. Now I haven't been back to this location again. But once I did that cleansing, this guy kind of went away. At one point, he presented to me as a flat-brimmed person, but he smiled and he had these really sharp teeth. And that was kind of what freaked me out a little bit about him, because I felt like he wasn't a docile spirit. He was almost trying to puff himself up and make himself bigger than what he was. And so my advice would be to cleanse your area that you're in, to sage, to meditate. And if you don't know how to do that, to find someone who can help you do that, because it sounds like maybe this is something who is coming to you to be a little bit of an intimidator. And that's how I got rid of this guy, because he was trying to put forth his intimidating factor on me, and I didn't want any of it.
Everything that I've heard, you know, all my years investigating like private residence, and people want you to do cleansing, and I've never done it. I've had people come in and do it, but they always say you got to stand your ground and you got to take action and just be like, this is my place. And you have to mean the cleansing. You have to mean when you're saging. You can't just do it just to do it. You have to have some, you know, gumption and force behind it. And if you really want to get rid of something, you have to let it know, this is my space. You know, you're not to occupy it. And I would like you to leave. And you have to do it with force, or it's just one of them things where it's not going to take effect.
No, and that's true. If you're not going to be assertive with whatever is there, it's not going to pay attention to you. You can't just turn a blind eye to this kind of stuff. If you want it gone, you need to tell it that you want it gone. And you need to be forceful about it. If a living person came into your house and tried to take over whatever, you're not going to sit back and say, oh, hey, you know, I'm just going to sit here and watch you while you do whatever you want to do in my house and be okay with it. You're going to be assertive and say, no, get the hell out of my house. And I think anyone who has ever experienced that type of activity needs to be just as assertive with that as you would be a living person. But you can do it in a manner of peace as well, and part ways with it in a peaceful manner. You know what really, you know, gets me in the mood to be assertive? What's that?
I watched that movie Red Dawn with Patrick Swayze, and then I become a Wolverine and I say, hey, get out of here.
Patrick Swayze makes everyone feel more assertive. Let's see, more questions. Sherry asked about your opinion with the Slender Man.
I think the Slender Man's made up.
Really? You think it's okay? I'm going to alert an alarm right now and say that Brendan Shay thinks that there is a cryptid that's not real. What just happened? What do you think it is?
Yeah, I think Slender Man's like a boogeyman story. I think it's like, I don't know, all the stuff I heard is just, I just don't, you know, oh, you're gonna get all weirded out on me, Miss Skinwalker Ranch?
No, we can talk about Skinwalker all you want to talk about it. We've had this, we've had this conversation. Shay and I have very differing opinions about cryptids. He wants to believe he's the molder of the relationship and I'm the Scully. Absolutely 100%. Like, I don't believe in this shit until I see it. And so that is my personal opinion on it. I think a lot of things are taken from urban legend and lore. I'm from the South. And we have a lot of lore and superstition down here. And so if anybody's going to believe in it, it's going to be me. But I want to see all of it before I believe in it.
So do you believe in Slender Man?
No. I think I think, like you said, it's an urban legend that people probably, kind of threw out there and just said, for what, I don't even really know the origins of Slender Man. If anybody does please comment in here.
I know there was a murder of, like, these two little girls murdered one of their friends in the woods, and they blamed it on Slender Man.
But that just happened. That just happened in Wisconsin.
That happened, like, what, 5 years ago or something like that?
In the past few years, and they blamed it on Slender Man. And I'm like, no, these little hookers just went out there and killed people for no reason. But no, I don't believe in Slender Man. And we can talk. Do you want to talk about Skinwalker Ranch? We have a podcast coming out tomorrow. Our next episode of Serial Spirits. Our new episode airs tomorrow night, and we talk about Skinwalker Ranch.
And you will think after hearing this that Shay and Weebs parted ways, because it gets pretty we debate quite a bit, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's something. And so we talk about our differing opinions on Skinwalker Ranch and cryptids and UFOs in general, I think, probably.
And ghosts.
And ghosts a little bit, maybe. But do ghosts really even come into play at Skinwalker?
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Where?
In the homestead. They think that their house is haunted, and they've had a lot of poltergeist stuff happen in there, in the house that the Shermans lived in. And like I said, like when you hear, if you guys get to listen to the episode and you hear it, we don't get into everything because there's so much. There's like just so much to it. So many stories and so many experiences that have happened there. And it's just, there's a documentary called Hunt for the Skinwalker that just came out, and it's supposed to be really good. So it shows a lot of the stuff that, people really didn't know happened, and they finally started bringing forth some of the evidence. So
when you talk about cryptids and UFOs, we've kind of gone from Mothman to Slender Man now to Skinwalker. We've touched on a couple of different things. Someone said, what are we talking about? Cryptids in general, basically. And we're talking about specifically Skinwalker Ranch in Utah right now. So you're talking about a place that these people acquired and started having random interactions with something there that they thought, like you said, it was PK activity. They described cryptids like werewolves on their property, and they also described UFOs. It ran the gamut. And what doesn't make sense to me in all of that is that they had so many different things going on. That's why I think it feels so contrived, is that they were like, oh, we had PK activity in the house, and we saw UFOs, and we saw a werewolf. Like, how do you get all that stuff together in one haunting and think that it's legit?
Well, one of the weird things too, that this is legit. This is 100% legit. That they know for a fact that when you fly over this area of the United States, they tell, like, pilots or whatever, the magnetic fields or whatever here, the instrumentations will get screwed up a little bit as you fly over this part of the country.
So it's like the Bermuda Triangle of the Midwest?
It's like, yeah, it's weird. Some weird stuff going on down there in the Skinwalker Ranch. Honey.
I don't know about all that. I'm looking to see if we have any more questions here.
How come nobody's asked about your new tattoo on your arm?
My new tattoo? I finished my tattoo this week. Thanks, guys. Let's see. Jordan says, we have 8 spirits in our house, plus and my aunt's a demon. Jordan, why do you think that it's a demon in your house? Jacob says, on June 20th, I had a dream about Annabelle. She was crawling at my leg. That sounds absolutely freaking terrifying.
That's terrifying.
No, that's terrifying. Things like that. I gave Shay a doll that's absolutely terrifying that's in the corner of the room that he's sitting in right now. Justin says, is the audio quiet? Justin, we were having technical difficulties earlier, so if you're having trouble hearing us, let me know because I need to make some adjustments for next week. Again, we apologize. We got started about 15 minutes late. We could not get logged on to Warehouse. Addie Gaddis says, I was going to ask about the tattoo, but didn't want to seem like a creep. Addie, I think I sent you a picture while I was still in the chair. So yes, I finished my half.
Addie, who's the biggest creep you know?
Shay's the biggest creep you know. Tony Santori is watching. Hello, Uncle Tony.
Uncle Tony!
Sally says that's scary. Sally, I agree with you if you are talking about the whole Annabelle thing. I don't know how much I believe in a spirit inhabiting some type of inanimate object. If anybody knows any differently, please tell me because I've never had an experience like that. I've actually purchased things to put in my house. If you've ever been in my house or you have
look behind.
Right, if you've seen anything right there, I have a lot of portraits in my house that were purchased from different antique stores, and I actually have portraits of a married couple when they were children hanging in my house. His audio sounds great, but mine is quiet. Okay, that's good to know because I don't know if it's technical difficulties with the page right now or if there's something else going on. Jordan says, I'm a psychic medium and same as my mother, and we have seen it and pinned my uncle down and said, you're mine. Jordan, I believe that when you talk about any type of psychic sensitivity, it absolutely can be hereditary. There's some type of sensitivity that has been handed down through my family. I don't really know what you'd call it, but,
Shining.
What?
Shining.
I don't know that you'd call it the Shining like Stephen King, Shay, but absolutely it can be something that I feel like is, hereditary and passed down through families. And so I think that's something that when you're looking for answers, it's great to go to your family members if they have any type of insight into that and let them know what you're feeling, because I didn't do that with mine, and I just kind of I let it go. And Justin says, I have saged. It seems to work, but then it returns. I haven't seen teeth, but it presents with glowing red eyes, along with darting shadow people. I saw a lady that claims to be a medium, and she says these things are drawn to me and my energy, so I might be getting rid of one and another is replacing it. What do you think of that? I think spirits can present in a lot of different ways. They can almost shift into what they want to seem like at that point. So I've experienced spirits who I felt like would come to me in one form, and when I shut them out, they would come to me in a different form. But you can tell when it's the same spirit. You get the same feeling. It's the same type of activity. And so what I would say, Justin, is to ask questions, and if it's something that you want to not be there, again, you need to very vehemently and forcefully tell it that you do not want that in your space. You don't want the negative type energy in your space. And whether it's through saging, meditation, anything of that nature, you have the ability to tell it that you don't want it to be there. And I've done that with spirits before, both in my house and in different locations. That has kind of gotten rid of that problem. Jason Miller says, Shay, have you been pushed, shoved, or hit while fixing up the new abandoned places? That's a good question.
I've had more experiences working at Madison Seminary, than I've had my entire career in the paranormal field investigating. Like, I've never physically been pushed or shoved or anything at Madison. Like, I don't feel anything that's negative there, really. I've never experienced anything negative. I felt like that weird, uneasy feeling a lot, but I've never felt anything like negatively attacking me. I have been touched while working. I was on a ladder down in the laundry room area, and I just kept getting this creepy feeling that I had to get out of there. And there was another volunteer who used to be there, and she was outside, and I just walked outside. I was like, let's go get some food, because I just had to get out of there. When I came back, like a couple hours later, I went back down there, started working again. Everything was fine, and it felt like somebody brushed their hand up my leg, and I just got that same exact feeling again of get out of here. So I got out of there. But I've had more experiences. Well, I seriously have had so many experiences just doing random stuff at Madison that it's crazy, dude.
Uncle Tony said, tell Adam to stop that. Yeah.
Well, those touches are special, and I remember every single one of those.
The gropey Philly. Let's see. Jordan wants to know where we are based. Jordan, I am from southern West Virginia and with a team called Resident Undead that's kind of from all over the place. Shay is from the Columbus area in Ohio.
OH.
Yeah, how about that?
IO.
How about that? Cassandra says, spirits don't like things being changed. They don't. And we have seen that firsthand in some of the locations that we have been in.
I disagree with that.
Really?
On all instances, I don't think that spirits necessarily, not all spirits hate change. I mean, I think that if they see, this is all theory. I think that sometimes if they see a place being taken care of and like renovated and, somebody actually cares to take care of something that was once theirs, I think that, if it were me haunting, I'd be like, well, heck yeah, you guys are taking this place out of abandonment and you're making it something new.
But you don't think if you go into a location where something is used to the setup of that building or whatever type of structure that you have there, if you go in and you start knocking down walls, you don't think that something is going to react to that?
That's not what I'm saying. I just think that in all general hauntings, like I don't think necessarily change is a bad thing for spirits. I don't think that they all get mad because you're changing the environment. I 100% agree that it stirs up activity because I've seen it time and time again, but I don't think that every spirit is upset that you're changing their environment.
I don't know that it's actually that they are upset. It's just that it's a confusion. Like if I came home today and somebody was knocking down walls in my house that I didn't know, I'm like, who the hell are you and why are you in here knocking down walls in my house? And that's kind of what I think about it when we go into these locations. Yes, you're doing it for a great purpose. You mean no harm, but it's out of the norm for them.
Well, yeah, it's 100% out of the norm for them, but I don't think it necessarily, maybe in their state of mind, could be a negative thing. Somebody's there knocking down your walls, and you're like, "What are you doing knocking down my walls?" "Oh, hot tub, sweet." You know what I mean? Like,
are you putting a hot tub in here, Shay? Is that what you're saying? Jason Miller says, can't wait to help and see if you get activity. Jason, I can absolutely tell you that if you spend any type of time at Madison Seminary, you're going to experience that, because that's just the type of activity that you get there. Zara says she was born in Cincinnati. What's up to Zara around the Cincinnati area? Jordan says she lives in the UK near Scotland, and she's going to a haunted castle to see what I can feel and see clairvoyantly. That's an amazing, I want to travel to Europe. Scotland is something that has always inspired me, that I would love to get out there and check out. Tony Santori says, sort of like that at the Inspiration House. They've been heard discussing what's been done there. Some liked it and some didn't.
That's what I was going to bring up. I was going to bring up, because Michelle has brought that up before, where she just talks about the Inspiration House. She's had somebody who tells her, like, I hate the way those curtains look and things like that. You know, they give them advice on what colors. Michelle's actually asked them, like, well, what color do you want to see the walls? Michelle
actually has a name for the person who lived there, who has told her the paint colors that he prefers on the wall. And if they were all that clear, we should be so lucky. But they're not all that clear, and so we're left to interpret the rest of them. Let's see. I'm trying to get to the last questions here. Justin says, with all that he has experienced in his life, I'm being drawn deeper into wanting to find answers for things. How would you suggest I start to drive into paranormal investigations? That's a good question. Shay, what do you think?
Why don't you answer first? I want to see what you have to say.
So my answer to everyone who wants to get into paranormal investigating is to go in with your basic equipment. Get your digital recorder, get yourself, a camera, and go into a location that you want to experience and fill it out for yourself. Set your recorder out. Ask questions. The very first paranormal investigation that I ever went on yielded the best EVP that I ever got. And I was hooked from that point on. And so I say, sometimes the less tech you have, the better, because you're not focusing on that solely. You can set out your recorder, you can take pictures occasionally, but you're feeling the experience and the energy around you. And so set out your recorder, ask questions, take pictures, and feel the experience and understand how that translates for you. Investigating translates differently for everyone. You have a different physical and mental reaction to it. And so the best thing that you can do is just dive in with your basic equipment head first and see what you think.
I think, I always give people the advice that it doesn't matter what tools you bring in there, your body's always going to be that first tool. You're going to feel the change in the environment. And the longer you do it, the easier it becomes to just pick up on these things. And it necessarily mean you have to be psychic, but it's just, you can tell when the environment changes, but if you want to get into this stuff, you want to do it, because you're interested and do research. It's not like you see it on TV. You're not sitting there and every 5 minutes things are jumping at, or things are making noises, or you're capturing EVPs. It's a waiting game. And you're sitting alone in the dark. I don't know how many times I felt falling asleep, just sitting there, and an hour later I wake up, I'm like, oh, I guess I was asleep. But, do your research, look, research the location you're going to. That's important. Don't break into places. No. Because if we catch you at Madison Seminary, there's going to be problems. You can't break into these places.
No.
So, safety is key.
Safety
for doing this.
Absolutely. Don't go into these places by yourself with things that you don't know. Gooseby is in the chat. He says, what's up? Love you, brother Goose. What's going on there? Let's see. We're into the last few minutes of the show right now. Again, we apologize. We had tech difficulties at the beginning of the show. I could not get logged on to Warehouse. Cassandra says, I'm going to Mansfield, Ohio Reformatory in March. Shay, I had never been to Mansfield until you took me there, and we just did a brief little walkthrough. But that place is freaking amazing.
Yeah, I actually investigated there twice, and it's you can't even investigate the whole place in one night. It's gigantic. I mean, and it is. It's cool. It's weird. It's weird to be in an old abandoned prison where tons of horrible things happen. Again, it's that whole history factor, but it's a cool place to go.
It's amazing. Goose says, love you guys. Melissa says she wants to go to Waverly. Another amazing location.
That place is awesome too.
Justin says, thank you. You've both been extremely helpful. Justin, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You're always welcome to get on here and chat with us if you have any questions about what's going on. Addie says, will you go back to Mansfield with me? Addie, why do you even ask questions like that?
Yeah, was that even a question, Addie? Come on. All you have to say is, hey, we're going to Mansfield. We're like, okay.
Come on, we're going shopping. Let's see.
Pack the juice. Pack the juice boxes.
Pack your juice boxes. Cassandra says, my husband's father was an inmate at Mansfield and has some crazy stories.
Sweet.
That would be an amazing interview there. That would be crazy. Guys, we're down to like the last couple of minutes. Tammy wants to know what apps on your phone are best for investigations. Shay, do you have any suggestions for that?
For a long time, I didn't believe any of these apps worked. I had a friend, Terry Long. Me and her sat there for a long time, and we heard the same things, almost like a loop, like it was just looping through this whole cycle. And then I started using one, the Phasma box, the Phasma app, and I've had some crazy stuff come through there at Madison. Like, I've had my name, said quite a few times. People who are volunteers there and who, Adam Kimmel, the owner, like, we've heard names of these people through this Phasma box and just direct responses to questions. So, I mean, it's just a give or take. I tell everybody there's no right tool to try everything just to see what works best for you. But there are some apps that are crap, but, it's just a matter of testing which ones you will have, the best responses for you.
I haven't actually used any apps that I use over and over again. I'm not opposed to it. It's just that I've never found any that actually worked for me. Shay, we're down to the last minute of the show, unfortunately. So you guys, thank you for tuning in. We had some technical difficulties. Shay, tell everyone where they can find you and Serial Spirits.
I'm on Twitter at Brendan Shay, Facebook, Brendan Shay, and Serial Spirits. You can follow us on Twitter at Serial Spirits, Facebook, Serial Spirits. We're on SoundCloud.com, Serial Spirits Podcast, and Podbean. We also are on every other Wednesday on the Paranormal UK Radio Network at www.paukradio.com, and we'll be on tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So
you guys stay tuned. Tomorrow night, Serial Spirits, 8 p.m. on PAUK Radio, and we will post our links to that as well. Stay tuned next week. Thank you guys for tuning in again tonight through our tech difficulties. And we will have Jeff Waldridge back on at another time. We wish him well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to RUWeebs Live tonight. Join us again next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on Paranormal Warehouse. Good night, guys.
Bye.